Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and as always told, I had a voice radio, and today is a very exciting yet very busy day because Sun and Moon 7 has started leaking on the official Japanese website, which does mean another deck building contest I maybe should enter. Go see my Don Fan deck video for more information about that, and actually, you can win yourself a side playmat if that's what you're into. Shout out to David Hochmann, who has been translating these for us. Lovely man as always. And we're going to start off looking at Tate and Liza today. A new supporter card which, quite frankly, we need. Because ever since the rotation has been announced, and we talked about this in the rotation video, people have been asking me, Wassy, what are we going to do about draw cards? Because we are losing some big cards in the rotation. Now, we're losing Bridget, which is our standard Tapu Lele Wonder Tag turn 1 play at the moment, but then again, we are getting Steven's advice. I'll try and remember to pop a link to that one in the description. Well, some people have called it Steven's advice. I think David called it Steven's advice and Autobot Tesla called it Steven's resolve. Either way, unless you search for any free cards and ends your turn, it's going to be the new turn 1 play instead of Bridget. Yay! But in terms of draw cards, we've been using recently a combination of Professor Sycamore, N, and Cynthia. And the problem is here that we're losing both Professor Sycamore and N, so the only real draw supporter we're going to have is Cynthia. Now we're getting a reprint of Judge, but the problem with Judge is it only draws you 4 cards, so it's probably better as a disruption card than it is as a draw card. Will in come Tate and Liza, the psychic type gym leaders, a kind of pair of them from the Hoenn region, and we all know that Sun and Moon 7 by now is a Hoenn focus set, and it's actually got a choice of things that you can do, like Giovanni's scheme, more on that in a moment. You get to choose one of the following things. Shuffle your hand into your deck and draw 5 cards, or switch your active Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. To put it another way, either you have a Shauna, or you have a Switch. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Shauna or Switch. Now, I know Switch is fantastically unexciting, but the fact that this will be a Switch will actually impact the metagame. We'll talk about that more in a moment. But for the moment, we're interested in this as a supporter card, as a draw card. And as a draw card, it's pretty good. It's Shauna. Now, I know what you're thinking at the moment. Hang on a second. Didn't everyone stop playing Shauna when Cynthia was released because Cynthia's just better? Yes. Cynthia is a better draw card than Shauna because it draws you 6 rather than 5, and there's a huge difference. When I first did my Cynthia video back when it was first revealed, I made a huge point about how Cynthia is so much better than Shauna because there's a huge difference between 6 cards and 5 cards. Well, I'm not going back on myself, and I'm not being inconsistent here. Cynthia is still better than this. And if you have a choice, say you're playing a Tapu Lele Wonder Tag and you get to search whatever supporter you want, you still go for Cynthia most of the time. The thing is, we're running out of options. In a format where we've got both N and Professor Sycamore, we can afford to sit there and go, screw you, Shauna, we don't need you. That's fine. Shauna becomes completely superfluous because between N, Cynthia, and Professor Sycamore, we've got all the draw cards we need. But in a format where we've got Cynthia and Judge, and they're basically the only draw supporters we've got, bringing in Tate and Liza is a huge difference that makes us delighted. Because in the same way I said Cynthia's way better than Shauna because getting 6 extra cards is way better than getting 5, well, Tate and Liza is way better than Judge as a draw supporter because getting 5 extra cards is way better than getting 4. I still expect everyone to be playing for Cynthia, and I expect this to be played when you don't have a Cynthia, but you know what? This is still incredibly useful. Yeah, you can always use Pal Pad and reuse Cynthia, but the fact of the matter is, in the early game, we want to draw supporters. And if you're playing 4 Cynthia, 4 Pal Pad, you're just not going to be able to draw Cynthia that often in the early game. That's where this is going to come in. It is not amazing draw support, which we know for a fact because Shauna has not seen any play since Cynthia came out. But in a world where we don't have many options, this is a fantastic option, and it's shuffle draw. It is absolutely fine as shuffle draw. It does the trick, it gets you cards, it helps to fill the void left by N and Professor Sycamore. It's not as good. And I tell you what, I don't expect this to be great forever. I expect us to get more and more draw supporters as we get more sets, and I expect in a not too distant future to get a new draw supporter which makes this pretty much irrelevant as a draw card. In the same way that Cynthia came along and made Shauna pretty much irrelevant. But we're not there yet. We now know pretty much all the supporter cards we're going to have when the rotation hits on September the 1st. And we've basically got Cynthia, Judge, and this. Steven's advice is great for turn 1 and it will basically replace Bridget. But in terms of actual draw cards that don't end your turn and draw you extra cards, you got Cynthia, Judge, and this. I cannot overstate how useful this is. But of course, just like Giovanni's scheme, this actually does two things. And this in and of itself is weird to me, right? Because Giovanni's scheme came out in Breakthrough. Breakthrough is the oldest legal set at the moment and it's just about to rotate. It is very strange to me that it is taken from then to now to get a second supporter card which gives us an option. When Giovanni's scheme came out, we all got a little bit excited. Oh, are we going to be getting loads of these supporter cards that give us an option? No. You're going to get one, and then just like a month before that one rotates, you're going to get a second one. So look forward to having another one of these in 2 years' time. But we do have an option here, and although 95% of the time, I expect the option you choose to be shuffle your hand into your deck and draw 5 cards, I do expect this to see play occasionally. It's a Switch. Switch is amazing. Switch has a lot of options that will be very, very useful. Your opponent plays a Guzma to strand a Pokemon in the active. Obviously, you'd rather play a Guzma yourself, which is a Switch. Or you'd rather play something like just a Switch and not use your only supporter for the turn. I understand that entirely. But it doesn't matter, because sometimes this is the only option you're going to have. Sometimes you're going to be poisoned and about to be KO'd and not able to retreat, and in comes this. You don't want to use this as a Switch, but sometimes you're going to have to. And there's two really big things about this. First of all, Floatstone is rotating, which means we are not going to have as many switching options as we had in the past. Now, sure, we've still got a skateboard, and if you've got a retreat cost of 1 or 0, it's better than Floatstone. But that's not always going to be the case, so don't get too excited about that. We're short on switching options now that Floatstone is going. Having this as a Switch is actually a huge, huge bonus. You're going to be able to Tapu Lele for it. Now, you can also Tapu Lele for a Guzma, but a lot of the time, you're going to want to save that Guzma for later in the game. So, I really do think this is going to be something we're going to use occasionally. But also, sometimes you're just going to need to use it. I know it sucks, but that's the way it is. The other thing to notice here is that special conditions are really under threat. Special conditions, things like paralysis, think the Raichu from Burning Shadows, or, people's old Froakie bubble tricks, they are really not going to work very well in the future. And the reason is very simple. Firstly, Floatstone's going away, so we're going to have a skateboard, which allows you to retreat when paralysed and reduces your retreat cost by 1. We've also got Guzma, which is being played in like every deck at the moment and counts as a Switch. And now we've got Tate and Liza, who admittedly want to be used as a draw supporter, but the fact of the matter is sometimes we're going to end up using it as a Switch anyway. And it used to be that we'd all play kind of Lysander and a couple of Switch. So special conditions could stick and really work. But in a format where basically everyone's going to be playing Guzma, a skateboard, and this, I really do think special conditions are just... they are going away. Sleep and paralysis are not the reliable time buyers they used to be. They're pretty much gone in the new format. Maybe that's me overstating it a little bit, but I'm just looking at all these cards coming out and I'm thinking, you know what? I do not see special conditions playing a role in the metagame in the future. But this really is the ancillary benefit of Tate and Liza. It's a draw card. It's not a particularly good draw card. But in the absence of anything else, oh my goodness, it will be great. It's a 5 Wossie card right now because it should be going in pretty much every deck. It should be a new staple because we're short of draw cards. And I expect new cards to be released and completely overshadow it. And when that happens, we can drop it down to an occasional tech-free Wossie card. But right now, it's a 5 Wossie card because we are short of draw cards after rotation. This will see a lot of play. But I want to hear from you guys. How excited are you about this? Are you happy we've got a draw card, or are you sad that we don't have a better one? Let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, be nice. make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and so on, head on over to patreon.com where you can do exactly that, and do check out my video game / Dragon Ball Super channel Wassy Plays for some more Wassy action. But by far the most important thing as always is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross and you've been watching PTCG Radio.